praying to silence.
Silence is directed by Martin Scorsese and is an adaptation of a novel by the same name. Okay, so this movie is good. So this movie is about faith and religion and hypocrisy of it, like the dangers of it, but also like the beauty of it. There were multiple times where the priests that were following Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver were given a chance to save other people by renouncing their faith, but they chose not to, and other people died because of it. But also, the people that are killing these other people say they're doing it in order to get rid of Christianity, and since these priests wouldn't renounce their faith, that's the only reason that they're killing them, and they're blaming the priests for the suffering of the Japanese Christians. And so it shows, and the people who are killing the Christians, they're Buddhists. And so it just shows that they're both hypocrites. Like, the priests could just end the suffering of the people by renouncing their faith, but they're not willing to sacrifice their own faith for the lives of others, which is like a allusion to like the sacrifice that Jesus made for the sake of humanity. They're basically sociopaths, these other people who are killing all these Japanese people, but not taking any of the blame for it, blaming it instead on the priests who aren't willing to sacrifice their faith. The acting in this movie is crazy. Like, I think Andrew Garfield lost 40 pounds, and then Adam Driver lost 50 pounds for their roles in this movie. And yeah, they look like really skinny. Andrew Garfield is really good in this movie. So is Adam Driver, but Andrew Garfield especially. There was this one scene, and like Andrew Garfield's character is like held back by like a dozen other Japanese people, and he's like screaming and begging them, and it's like so like my jaw was on the floor the entire time.
If they did what you wanted, then let them go. Let them go. They did what you wanted, so let them go. Please, 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 let them go.
Be an example to them.
Oh, apostatize, apostatize. For their sake, Lord, do not leave this to us. No, Garubago! No, 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 no! No! Oh, please, please, please!
Also, this movie has no music. There's no sound, like there's nature sounds in the background, which was added, but there's no like music, like instrumental or anything. But I think it just brings out like the rawness of like what's happening on the screen. Like, it just feels more real, and like the music isn't there to like tell you how to feel. It's just whatever you feel. And that's another thing about this movie. Scorsese, he isn't telling you what to think. He's just showing you and just letting you make and like showing you questions and just letting you answer them for yourselves. Like, he's not going against like any religion or faith, and he's not advocating for it either. You just see both sides of what it can do, and you're just left thinking. This movie is also 2 hours and 41 minutes, which is kind of long, but honestly, it needed it. I like that it was this long, because so much happens, and the characters change so much. My eyes were just glued to the screen the entire time. It just left me thinking for like an hour. Also, Scorsese wrote like this opinion piece for the New York Times, I think in 2019, I'm not sure, but where he discussed why he personally doesn't like Marvel and like franchise films, and it's because there's no like real danger in them. Like, it's the same story basically repeated over and over, and you know that the good guys are gonna win and the bad guys are gonna lose, and it's the same themes over and over. There's no novelty. And he basically is sad that because those films are doing so good, that the types of cinema that he likes, that he grew up watching, don't have the same number of people watching them, because all the theaters are getting taken up by the Marvel movies. For Scorsese, cinema was about revelation, aesthetic, emotional, and spiritual revelation. It was about characters, the complexity of people, their contradictory and sometimes paradoxical natures, the way they can hurt one another and love one another and suddenly come face to face with themselves. I think this statement basically sums up exactly what this film is about. And also the fact that this movie tanked at the box office. I think it made $26 million while its budget was $50 million. Just shows that people aren't willing to experience these types of films anymore. Instead, they just like watching, like Scorsese says, the amusement park type movies. And I think the fact that this movie made so little just proves his point. But yeah, I give this movie 10 out of 10.